I was pretty excited to buy a video game coming out from our friends at Retroware, formerly Screenwave. Because they've got this whole video game division, right? They're doing this Toxic Crusader game. They of course did the AVGN games, and they've done a few games. Somebody posted on Cinemaster of Truth a list of like all of their earnings, and they were like, the AVGN games made considerably more than the rest of their stuff. Obviously, it's a big brand. If I've learned nothing from doing this podcast, it's that people really like this guy, and they'll buy his shit. And plus, they released that they had the original, and they released it for a lot of different platforms at different times, and they had a sequel. Then they repackaged it as a deluxe plus thing. But they had been advertising for a while Prison City, and the idea is that it's Shatterhand meets Power Blade, lots of other references to NES games. Like there's a lot of TMNT in there, there's a lot of Batman in there. It just looked like, I was like, you know what? That looks like my kind of indie pixel art trash. And so I had been looking forward to it because they had released it on Steam a few months ago, and I was like, oh, I can't play. I think Mate streamed it, and I had been looking forward to playing it. So I finally bought it, and I'm like a couple levels in, and I'm hitting a brick wall of difficulty, which is really turning me off from it. I like the way it controls. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. There's some weirdness for sure. Like there are times where, like for one thing, like it's not a straightforward platformer. You're supposed to like find a girl in every level, and only then can you get to the exit. So it's kind of like a puzzle. I'm like, oh fuck this. Just let me fight to the end. Can I? And then you get to the boss, and then when you finally get to the exit, you go to a boss. And this is a complaint I have about a lot of games where you have pretty balanced, somewhat easy platforming. You get through handily, enough. And then you get to some boss, and it's just a brick goddamn wall. And you're like, I can't, okay, I'm just going to have to like fight this boss for the next 2 hours until I finally get lucky. Like I'm going to get enough lucky shots and enough time, and then I can finally progress. It's like, is that what I want? Like, could you at least, if the bosses are going to be that hard, can the rest of the game be that hard? Not that I would enjoy that.
I wonder if that's another like Dark Souls thing, because that's famously Dark Souls is like really like hard bosses. What's that game? Hollow Knight has hard bosses.
Cuphead, so nothing but hard bosses.
Oh yeah, it's nothing but hard bosses.
Not just like the Cuphead's one of those games that's incredible. You can't believe what you're playing, but unfortunately, you can't really play it because they made it too goddamn hard. Like, why do they do it? Why? It's like sabotaging your own game, but whatever. And there is like an easy mode, but on Prison City, but I'm pretty sure it's just infinite lives. Otherwise, it's really not that much easier. Maybe part of the problem here, because I was playing with a Switch Pro controller, and I was like, I don't think this game was made for an analog stick. I need the, of course, I could play on. I have a couple of controllers with D-pads, but I was like, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy whatever it is, the SN30 Pro from 8BitDo. So it's like an SNES controller, except it has handles on it, basically. And I really like that controller. That's a great controller for like Mario Wonder or for any kind of like modern 2D games. I think that's a perfect controller. And then I have been playing quite a bit more Sonic Superstars, and I decided, because I've got those Genesis 8BitDo controllers all over the house. I've got one by the actual Genesis. I've got two dedicated to the mini consoles, and then I was like, I think I need, cause the thing with pairing, you ever like try to like take a Bluetooth controller and like today I'd like to pair it to the Xbox. It doesn't go smoothly.
I use an 8BitDo controller for my teleprompter, and I think I paired it to my one of my Apple devices, and then I tried to pair it back to my teleprompter, and it was like it was embarrassingly because I did it at work, so it took like embarrassingly too long to pair it back, because you have to like have it forget it, and then when you do pair it, like Android's like, can you tell me the pin of the controller? I'm like, what the fuck's the pin of the controller?
Or with 8BitDo, I always assume that like, oh, just holding the pairing button will pair it, right? And then you find after like 20 minutes of it not pairing for the first time, you finally look it up and like, oh, like the first time you're supposed to do start and Y, then hold the pairing button.
Yeah, and there's different combinations per start, and some other combination is like Android, and start and some other is Apple, and
So I said, you know what, like, because I'm big on wherever I crash in this house, I want to pick up a wireless controller and be able to start gaming.
I understand this lazy luxury.
I don't want to like be like doing like a 20-minute setup, every time, which includes I'm buying more Switch docks. So I'm just going to like plant Switch docks all over the house so I can just pick up the Switch, pop it down. I bought one of those for $40. It's like a portable Switch dock, the kind you can bring to like a hotel or something. It's just like a little HDMI and power thing. And that's pretty sweet too. But anyway, so I decided to just buy a Genesis 8-bit dedicated to the Switch. And then I noticed that they come in really cool, like instead of coming in the black and gray, you can buy like multicolored buttons with a white controller. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That could be the one dedicated to the Switch. These are the kind of decisions I have to make.
Yeah, I know. That's important decisions. But yeah, the 8-bit SN30 Pro or whatever it's called. I love that. Yeah, I use that for platformers almost exclusively.
Yeah.
I actually like, I have like OpenEMU on my Mac, and I play emulators through that with that SN Pro. It's great. It's a great platformer controller. I
have to say that it has made Prison City more fun. It's made Sonic Superstars more fun, Mario Wonder, pretty much everything I want to be playing on. Because it's not like the Pro controller has a D-pad, but having the D-pad low and to the left,
it's not ideal. Yeah, it's like when if they always have Retro Game Core is always reviewing those retro handhelds, and whenever there's the joystick is up and the D-pad's down, I just, it's not interest, because I'm mostly going to be playing retro games.
Yes.
And that's the non-ideal configuration. And a surprising amount of handhelds have that.
I haven't watched Russ in a long time. How's Russ doing?
He's great. He's doing awesome.
He's still. How many handhelds must this man have? I want to see a room full of them.
I'm sure he's lousy with them. I think he sells some like for charity every once in a while, or for himself. I don't know, but he's just like, he seems like a perfect human being, like a perfectly like calm, centered human being.
He served his country. He's yeah. Can you believe that the internet had the gall to call Boogie 2988 the Mr. Rogers of YouTube when Russ has been here?
People call me the Mr. Rogers of YouTube every once in a while.
I throw him on sometimes because it's just fun and therapeutic to just hear him like rattle off specs about a handheld,
Technology ASMR.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's like I think probably a lot of guys can relate to that. And I think like my wife will watch Amazon unboxings of clothes and stuff. I think it's the same sort of thing.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.